Hi everybody, Rad Mom here, back with you in the bedroom where we do feminism from a materialist perspective. And boy, if that doesn't have a ring to it, huh? Today on the program we have Sam Seder of the Majority Report back with us. I believe he's been on the program at least once before. And Sam is going to be laying out for us just exactly how it is that some good liberal-minded people such as himself managed to swallow the giant jagged pill that is transgender ideology. It's been so mystifying to many of us. Well, today we're going to find out. But first, like the video if you enjoy my content and subscribe to the channel so that we can all work together to drag feminism back into the real world, whether it likes it or not. The caller calls in and says like one thing, and then Sam just goes on and on and on, and he's really just reaching for everything that he can because they have to, don't they?
Go to the phones, calling from a 661 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Adam from LA.
Adam from LA. What's on your mind, Adam?
Hey, I had an observation, kind of wanted to get your take on it, maybe see if you agree or if you've got, I don't know, how to kind of deal with it. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who used to be much further left than me, at least before I started listening to you all.
Editing Sarah just popping in to say, virtue signal much, dude? Come on.
And he goes, I'm just tired of all this trans stuff. And I was like, okay, but, there's kind of one side that's responsible for
Totally
the discourse being the way it is.
Totally. There sure is. I wonder which side that might be. Because from my liberal perspective, being from the city in Ohio that's literally made it a swing state for years, my liberal ass has been absolutely just blown away by how hard all kinds of liberal people are pushing this shit for, golly, going on like 10 years now. I want to say that 2015 was the year that I really first noticed it being sort of shunted to the front of the line, as it were. Was that the year that Jenner was Woman of the Year, or was that 2016? Does it matter? Who exactly the fuck do you think was pushing that agenda? And that was 6-7 years ago. Have you only been paying attention for the last couple of years? They're going to go on to list some of the conservative and right-wing responses and backlashes to the liberal push of transgender concepts. We've all seen this. Hello. Most of us have been adults for more than 5 years, Sam. What the fuck are you trying to pull here?
He's like, yeah, no, I know. But still. And, the right poisons the well so deeply that even people sympathetic to an issue just kind of seem to get pulled by some, I don't know how to describe it, some sort of gravitational field almost.
That's weird. People seem to be like drawn by this invisible force towards these ideas that a lot of these liberal people just don't like very much. I wonder what that force could be. Material reality, perhaps?
This is how it works. I mean, this is why, this is why they do this.
This is why they do what, Sam? Spend a bunch of money in an election like you're about to talk about and pass a bunch of legislation? How exactly is that poisoning the well? Isn't that pretty straightforward? Isn't that about as above the board as you can possibly get in politics? They don't give an example of these sneaky tactics that they're referencing.
I have a friend who said the same thing to, she had, I was like, why is this so prominent in your head? And she's like, well, things have really changed. Like, there really seems to be a big push over the past year or two. And I'm like, but if you look at every piece of legislation that has been passed.
So he's putting this idea of it being the last year or two onto someone else. Because it has not been the last year or two. We're going on a decade now. 2015 is definitely the first year that I remember this becoming a big deal. And I remember it distinctly because I got married and moved halfway across the country. So it's not just been the last couple of years. If you just look at the last couple of years, yeah, the most proactive people on this front have been the conservatives because they are reacting to something that has been pushed onto all of us.
Almost every single piece of legislation that's been passed, it is, and I think there's like close to like 50 or 60 pieces of legislation. They have all been in some way anti-trans. They've been anti, gender affirming care.
Fuck your gender affirming care. I can play the word game too. How about childhood mutilation?
They've put restrictions on it in terms of parents and in terms of this. And the only thing that has changed over the past, let's say, 2 years has been an increase in the number of both
Of what the fuck are you talking about? How obvious is it that he has no idea what he's actually talking about? What's he scrambling for there? I should put more references in these videos, but I do not need any notes.
The only thing that has changed over the past, let's say, 2 years has been an increase in the number of both kids under the age of 18 who have had puberty blockers and the number of patients who have had hormone therapy.
Right. The only thing that's happened in the last couple of years is all these numbers have gone way up. What is everyone so worried about? Golly, Sam, I cannot imagine.
And I'll give you those figures right now. This is from Komodo Health. The number in 2016 and 2017 was 633, ages 6 to 17. They don't break it down before that. I think, like, intuitively, I think it's very safe to assume.
Intuitively, I think it is very safe to assume that you have done no due diligence whatsoever on this subject, Mr. Seder. Because intuitively, we're assuming journalism? What the fuck is this?
That you're not giving a 6-year-old a puberty blocker because they're not, puberty is not imminent for them. But let's say it's 10 to 17.
Let's say it's 10 to 17. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Well, I do, and I've done the research, and they start giving puberty blockers usually in Tanner stage 2, which is about age 8 or 9. That's 6. God knows why the 6 and 7-year-olds are on there. I don't know, but none of those children should be in there. And Sam's actually about to make that point for me.
It includes more than that. 633 in the country in 2017. That number doubled by 2021 to 1,390. We're talking less than 2,000 kids. The numbers in 2017 who initiated hormone treatment in 2017 was 1,900. By 2021, it was a little over 4,000. Now, when you say, like, it has doubled in 5 years, yes. But, like, if there was one person and 5 years later there's 2 people, that also is a double. But you're talking about, like,
right, yeah,
several thousand kids. And we're also talking about an era where only, 3 years prior to 2017, marriage equality didn't even exist in this country.
Oh, and the poor gays didn't have any rights back then either. Oh, what the fuck does that have to do with whether or not men can be women, Sam?
And you're only out from 2017 by, 12 years from when the president of the United States wanted to, like, codify in the Constitution that gay people were second-class citizens.
What? No, I am absolutely 100% in favor of gay marriage. However, that is not what that amendment said. Making marriage between one man and one woman does not make gay people second-class citizens. So this shit has skyrocketed over the last few years, and Sam is just going to sit here and rationalize it for us this way and that way, and this isn't important, and there's nothing to see here, and pay no attention to the man behind the dress. Right?
You're only, at that point, I don't know, 4 or 5 years out from when, maybe less, from when the Obama administration just sent a guidance reminding schools that under, I think it's Title IX, you need to have bathroom facilities for trans students.
And Title IX is supposed to be ours. I don't know how long this has been not true. If it was under the Obama administration, then apparently I missed something, which would not be the first time and probably not the last. But Title IX was supposed to be ours. Oh, that makes me so mad.
You're talking about the inflection point in our society where there is at least a diminishment of hostility. At least there was, I should say, hostility to trans people.
There was a diminishment of hostility towards alternative lifestyles of all sorts there for a minute. And I really think that a lot of the crap he's complaining about, a lot of the backlash, and a lot of the legislation, the anti-trans legislation that he's complaining about, is a reaction to the trans community abusing this goodwill. I've seen this many places, and I'm sure that at least one person will comment below and back me up on this one, because, yeah, no, they've absolutely ridden the coattails of the gay rights movement and used up every ounce of goodwill that they created over 40 or 50 years. And if I were gay, oh man, would I be mad.
But we're talking 300 million people in the country. And the idea that we're talking about 4,000 or 5,000 children.
It's such a tiny percentage of people who are actually killed by guns.
And there's every reason to believe that, like, you know, there's a lot of overlap between the puberty blockers and the hormone treatments.
Now he's right there. There is a lot of reason to believe that there is quite a bit of overlap between those who got the puberty blockers and those who, you know, go on to take the hormones. Is that really a good thing? What lifestyle choice has like a 99% rate of continuity? Going back to marriages are only like, have like the dismal 50% success rate or something, right? But transition is, it is actually possible to marry someone and, you know, socially and financially join yourselves together in such a tangle that it is very difficult to untangle. It's not actually possible to change sex, though. Except that sex and gender are completely different. Right. I keep forgetting.
We're talking about such an infinitesimally small group of people who, without a doubt, have gone through a tremendous amount of just talk therapy.
Where the fuck do you get off, Sam? A tremendous amount of talk therapy. Without a doubt. So we're going by the American legal standard then. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Because I can provide you evidence and witnesses, plural. We could go on all night, really. I mean, if you want legal cases, we can start with Kira Bell, who I suppose I will link something about down in the description below, in case anyone hasn't heard about Kira, who, went to court in the UK and won her case against Tavistock, I believe it was, for, you know, rushing her through and not giving her the proper psychological workup to determine that her issue was actually a lot to do with like depression and trauma and stuff. None of us have that. What?
And pain and alienation and whatnot to get to that point. Is it possible or even likely that there are a handful, and I mean literally a handful, of kids who got this treatment without the proper amount of attention being paid to them? It's almost impossible for me to imagine that that's not the case.
It's most definitely the case, Sam. How many? A handful? Was it you who was saying this the other week? I feel like I was talking to somebody else who was asking for a handful. I was thinking the number 5. Like, I could find you 5 cases tonight. That would not be difficult. There are whole websites collecting cases of mostly young women, but not all of them, who feel that they were rushed down a medical pathway and had irreversible stuff done to them before they were old enough to even understand what the fuck was going on, much less consent to it. How many? How many? Isn't 1 too many? I guess if you're going to make the omelet of social change, you got to break a few individual eggs, right, Sam? So the ends justify the means here. How many is too many? How many? How many kids are really killed by firearms every year anyway, right?
Because I'm also aware how quickly tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kids are put on SSRIs in this country without, you know, and I would imagine the numbers of kids who have gone on that, you know, too quickly is super high as well. And in some instances, depending on what the SSRI is, we don't have data as to what the implications are going to be 20 years down the road.
Super high as well? Did he just admit it? Regardless, I feel he's making my point for me. Who even knows how many kids have been pushed onto SSRIs? We don't even know how those work. Funny that. That came out earlier this year, Sam. Did you read about it? All the studies that they've been looking at for that have been based on bullshit. Psychology and psychiatry are actually in something of a crisis right now. It's kind of shocking to me that you don't even mention that. Being a journalist and all, and analyzing the news as a job, like you do, but you're making my point for me here. They're pushing all these kids onto these SSRIs, and they probably shouldn't be, and we don't really know what the side effects are. But puberty blockers are just fine. Do you hear yourself? You're arguing the wrong way.
Prozac we have a better sense of. Lexapro we have a pretty good sense of. But when we get to other SSRIs, we don't know.
You know what we do have a pretty good sense of is the side effects of things like Lupron. Lupron causes things like bone density loss. We know that. But everyone who transitions is 100% happy 100% of the time.
What we're seeing is the efficacy of a concerted effort by the right.
Against a non-argument. You haven't made an argument. You just went from suggesting that perhaps we shouldn't be giving so many children antidepressants because we don't really know what the effects might be down the road. But yeah, people are having doubts about transition surgeries and stuff because of a right-wing conspiracy. What the fuck, Sam?
That involved literally $50 million, at least, deployed against trans people in this midterm election.
It's always against trans people, isn't it? It's never against the ideology or the concepts being worked into, say, elementary school curricula. No, it's always against the people. If you disagree with any of this, you hate trans people. Not that you disagree with the ideas. Now he's being insidious.
God knows how many other millions upon millions of dollars that were deployed prior to this. Never mind, like, I don't know how much you could add up the free airtime they got from, like, Fox News.
Free airtime. I can't even seem to get 1,000 followers on my goddamn YouTube channel that I've been working on for 2 straight years. We have been blacklisted from everywhere as far as I know, but the Tucker Carlson show. Speaking for rad femmes anyway, but I guess we're not really right wing, so we don't really count. I'm not an expert on the right wing, but Sam sure is. He's gonna give us like the full roster.
From WorldNet Daily News, from One America News, from Crowder and Tim Pool and Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald and God knows how many.
It's whack-a-mole.
It's all over the place.
Whack-a-mole, huh? You just gotta keep smashing them down? That's quite a metaphor you've chosen there. I don't know who most of those people are. I avoid right-wing media because it pisses me the fuck off. Sam Seder used to be a favorite of mine because of his, no-nonsense attitude and how he's maybe a little older than me, maybe right just about my age. I used to dig his show. That's one of the reasons that I complain about it. Is because he's just absolutely drunk the Kool-Aid or taken the dirty money or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I really don't know what could make seemingly sane and rational people back up an ideology, push an ideology even, that says that men can become women and women can become men, and then sit here and claim the right wing is insidiously pushing anything
Stuff faster than, you can kind of combat it.
Without a doubt. But
it's their favorite mode of, or a favorite sort of tone, which is like, you have Trump derangement syndrome. Like you're, they basically like turn the channel. Like
derangement syndrome. I'm not even going to use that name on my channel. I hate that man so much. I never want to hear his voice again. I'm certainly not going to say his name because fuck him. No. This has nothing to do with him at all. This goes back way further than him being involved in the national conversation in any serious way. Like I was saying at the beginning, it's like dude in the corner just had to pull out his personal favorite red herring.
There was that poll about that woman who's in the focus group saying months earlier, she was like, Democrats, I just want you to focus on Roe versus Wade. And then later she's like, Democrats focus too much on Roe versus Wade. And that's reactionary messaging.
It is. It shows you the efficacy of these media enterprises. And now, fortunately, it did not resonate with the American public enough that it implicated the election.
The right wing didn't manage to get the American people to vote against trans people. That would be a victory, wouldn't it? We did, on the other hand, vote for Roe versus Wade, basically. The red wave that people were predicting failed to materialize, shockingly. I was not personally expecting anything like that, but I was not watching the stuff leading up to the election either because I don't have time for that crap.
It certainly resonated enough with the American public that they are more hostile towards trans people.
As far as being more hostile towards trans people, I really think it's because they've just worn out their welcome. The American people are very open-minded, and if you poll, especially people my age and younger, millennials, etc., yeah, we don't give a shit. What the fuck you do at home? We don't care. We're not very religious. We are very socially liberal. All right? We have no problem with most things. We're also the most diverse generation ever. So that probably has something to do with it. Most people under 50 do not give a fuck whether you're gay. Like the classic argument goes, 2 men getting married doesn't affect my marriage. That's not how that works. On the other hand, if you're going to tell me that I can't have private spaces away from penis people, that affects me. That affects my daughters. Hell, that affects my sons. Because they want privacy too.
At the very least, your friend is a good example of this. They're like, I'm so sick of hearing about this. Like, why is this being pushed on me?
Because trans people just want to pee, right? They just want to get on about their lives, right? No, you don't. No, you don't. That's such a lie. You just want to pee and be next to us in the rape shelter, and lie next to us in the hospital ward, play with us on the same sports team, be next to us in the locker room, and. It never ends. So you have to make a stand at some point. And I'm making a stand at the firm line of material reality. If you're not physically female, then you do not get to enter. You do not get to play. Close, but you got a banana. So, no. That's where we have to draw the line. There's no such thing as true trans. There's no amount of transformation that can happen that is sufficient to earn the title of woman, because there's no there. There is nothing firm to plant your flag in there. Material reality has to be where we draw the line, because it's the only thing that's outside of anybody's control. It's the only thing that cannot be fudged through language and through social norms and blah, 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 blah. Because we all know that there's only one sort of person who can get pregnant by accident and fucking die.
And in fact, what's being pushed on this person, and they're not aware of it, because, not everybody spends their time, analyzing the news like we do here professionally as a job.
Not everyone spends their time analyzing the news professionally like we do. Oh, you're such a clown.
They're not aware that what they're really hearing is just the reaction. It's just all reaction shots. You don't see the punch. All you see is like the guy getting knocked over. You presume there must be something there.
Can you get out of the way of that punch, please?
That's knocking them over. And in fact, there is nothing there that's knocking them over. They're just falling down over again.
That is a really fun metaphor you've got there. It's a pity that you wasted it on something that it just doesn't fit. No. Some of us have actually lost things here. Some of us have actually fielded blows, Sam. So fuck you and your goddamn metaphors. And give me my rights back.
Like in the NBA, when somebody's trying to manufacture a foul. And if the guy keeps falling down every time, we're not looking, then you start to think well, maybe somebody is pushing him over. And that's basically what's happening.
Yeah, sure. And I'll let you go.
All right.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate the call.
And I guess that's where we're going to end it today, because that's where Sam ended his random little segment that is titled Debunking Right-Wing Anti-Trans Myths. How good a job do you think he did? I'm not impressed, personally, but, you'd be hard-pressed to debunk the myth that women are adult human females. You'd be hard-pressed to debunk the myth that only females ever find themselves with child and suffer the frailties that come with, physically creating the next generation of human beings. It would be nice if that sort of thing hypothetically came with some sort of societal dignity. But, what the fuck ever, right? Doesn't affect you. So, you haven't even bothered to do basic due diligence on this topic. You went and looked up, what was that? 2 numbers? Was it 4? How fast this stuff increased until 2020? I really wasn't paying as close attention as I suppose I should have been, because there was really nothing there. He quoted us a couple of numbers and said, oh, well, those numbers don't mean anything. Why in the world should I have paid any attention to them? Because he didn't. He really just did everything that he could to blow this the fuck off, didn't he? Debunking. My God. You know, the conservatives are fucking winning this one because y'all brought a clown card to a knife fight. I can do metaphors too. They're winning because material reality is actually on their side for once, which is weird for conservatives, right? Usually they're the ones who have to sort of massage reality to fit their ideology, that women belong only in the kitchen and men should be in charge of the world. And now you're stuck on the back foot because logic does not support any of this. Material reality and experience and observation do not support any of this. Not really. I guess what I'm trying to say, ladies, is that we have reality on our side. We just gotta hang in there. Thank you so much for joining me here in the bedroom today, where we're doing feminism from a materialist perspective. Stay strong, ladies. Until next time. I'll see you then. Bye.